You must understand that no matter how great you are, there is somebody out there who's doing the very same thing that you're doing better and faster. My tribe will find me. No, my dear, your tribe is not going to find you. Running a business is nothing compared to some of the things that you see on Instagram. It's not being in a suit every day and looking amazing and like constantly feeling motivated and empowered and all of those amazing things. And they were saying that it's melikali every single day. Concept around how amazing this idea is going to be, and you really want to make it work. You can see how valuable it is in the market, but as long as it's still an idea, the execution is a whole different ballgame. Anybody can give us feedback. Like for instance, you could be listening to this podcast right now. Somebody can comment and give some weird feedback. This is a lesson that I felt like I knew, but I didn't realize how soon I needed to implement it. It takes years of training to become an overnight success. Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. Now, if you've already started a business or have not started a business or thinking to start a business, or you probably do have a business and you're wondering, am I the only one going through this? I want to share with you the reality of what running a business actually is. I must be very honest and say that most of the things that we show on Instagram, basically the day in the life, usually isn't the real truth around how business actually is going. And today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a couple of lessons that I've learned or that I wish I knew before I started a business. Now, let me start off by saying that running a business is nothing compared to some of the things that you see on Instagram. It's not being in a suit every day and looking amazing and like constantly feeling motivated and empowered and all of those amazing things. It can be an interesting journey, and I'm going to share some of the interesting things that I've learned along the way that I hope that if you are starting or you just needed someone to validate that I'm not crazy and I'm going through this, but I will get through it. Those are the things I'm going to share with you guys today. So without even wasting any time, let's get into them. The first thing that I'm going to share with you is it's not about the idea, it is about the execution. I think every time we start a business, the biggest thing is like you've got this concept around how amazing this idea is going to be, and you really want to make it work. You can see how valuable it is in the market, but as long as it's still an idea, the execution is a whole different ballgame. I remember when I quit my job, my corporate job, to actually get into business, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just going to go in there, get in the market, and in 3 months, we're going to be great. And 3 months later, I went back to my job to ask for my boss, to ask for my job back from my boss because it was hard. I wasn't getting clients. I wasn't able to sustain myself. It was just so difficult. And obviously, if you've watched some of the videos on this channel or on this podcast, you would know how the story ends. My boss literally says to me, no, I'm not going to hire you back. You're unemployable and I'm going to support you start a business. And he actually became a mentor of mine as I was running my business. But the realization that the idea and the execution can be two different things, but still fulfill the same vision is something that you always have to think about. Sometimes we romanticize this vision and the value of this vision, and we actually forget that the execution and the day-to-day can be really difficult. So if you are somebody who is going through the execution and it's hard, you're second-guessing yourself, and you're like, oh my gosh, is this really what I had in mind? I need you to realize that it's okay to feel like that. As long as you continue executing and you're consistent, the idea you had will come to life, but it might take a few months, for some people a couple of years, but just keep going. That is very important to note. And the second thing is cash flow is king, not revenue. This was also a big one for me because I think all the time, every time we speak about, and because I speak about sales a lot, I have to get into educating people around the importance of cash flow. So what do I mean by cash flow? I'm going to give you an example that's just going to play it out for you in an easy way. If you've done business with a client and you know they're going to pay you 100,000 at the end of the month, right? And now that you've done that business, maybe first week of the month or second week of the month, one of the things that might happen is you might get a client that calls you and says, hi, we would like you to execute 1, 2, 3, or we would like to meet with you so that we can discuss 1, 2, 3, or do this presentation. Are you available on Friday or on a Thursday? But if you don't have cash flow, what will happen is that throughout the month, while you're waiting for that amount, which is the revenue at the end of the month, while you're waiting for the client to pay you, you might not have petrol money to go to other meetings. You might not have money to pay for your internet in that month. It's not that you don't have money. It's just that you currently do not have the cash flow to execute to get a lot more business right now. And that is essentially the most visual way to describe the importance of cash flow in any business. So it's not only your ability to make the big check at the end of the month as a business, but it's the ability to have enough money through the month to run, to pay for the electricity, to pay your staff, or should anything needs to happen in between the month, you actually are able to do that. So that is why this is important. When I started, the big thing I thought to myself was like, yeah, at the end of the month, I'm expecting X amount and this is amazing. And then you realize that it actually will disadvantage you because you will expect that much money at the end of the month and you will get it, but you still will struggle with cash flow as time goes because that money will run out and you haven't been working to get more money coming inside. When that runs out, you've got enough cash flow. So you're constantly running on these cycles that are not sustainable. And part of running a business is making sure that every single month you are sustaining yourself, but you also have enough money should you want to do paid ads, should you want to do a couple of things so that you can run. So that is something that's very, very important that you need to learn. The third thing I'm going to share with you is sales solve most problems. You guys know I talk a lot about sales on this podcast. Sales will solve most of your problem. A lot of people sometimes are thinking, I don't know what to do. The clients are not coming in. I'm trying to pay for this. I'm trying to pay for that. I'm trying to pay. Let me tell you, okay? Yes, you might need an investor depending on what industry you are in, but getting more sales is going to solve a lot of your problems. Getting more consistent sales is actually going to solve a lot of your cash flow problem. Sometimes we are waiting for, the big sale. We're waiting for the big contract. But what I want you to be mindful of is realizing that you need consistent sales. There's somebody I actually invited on the podcast a couple of months ago that had a conversation with us. And one of the things that we agreed and that we spoke about, and they actually shared this thing, and I thought it was so powerful. And they were saying that every single day. This is what they were saying, basically saying that if you're running a business, you need to make sure that you're finding a way to consistently be making money all the time. Like a day, you must make a sale a day, 2 sales a day. On a weekly basis, make more and more sales and more and more sales. This is so crucial to making sure that you have your cash flow, to making sure that you're able to sustain yourself and the cost of the business, and also making sure that you're able to scale up, because sometimes you can't scale if you don't have the cash flow and you don't have the money. So this is very important. Sales solve most problems. Number 4 was something that I was almost awakened to as it unfolded, and it is the realization that marketing and personal branding matter a lot more than you think. I think that there's so much value in building a personal brand and actually marketing your services and yourself. I think a lot of people are always under the impression that my product is great, my services are amazing, and that's all that matters, and my tribe will find me. No, my dear, your tribe is not going to find you. You have to start communicating in that specific market in a way that is going to inform your tribe that you're there, you're available, and you're better than all the other people that are there. I always say to people, you must understand that no matter how great you are, there is somebody out there who's doing the very same thing that you're doing better and faster. So if you're not willing to be out there in the market to not only develop yourself even more, but to be able to get more clients, somebody else is going out there. And sometimes they might not even be doing it as best as you are, or as better as you are, but they're still charging your money and they're still getting your clients. So it is important that you realize that marketing and speaking about your business is essential, and building a brand is I think it's become the biggest currency right now. There are certain people, like for instance, if somebody were to tell you something, this happens a lot in relationships where a friend, like just somebody that maybe does not have a personal brand, tells you something like an important piece of advice, and you're just like, oh, cool, whatever. But if the same thing comes from somebody you look up to that has a personal brand that has more numbers, people are most likely to believe that, to take that more seriously, and to be very excited about that. Why? Because personal brand builds a perception that you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing. It almost builds a track record for somebody to trust you easily. So that's why it is important to build a personal brand. It is obviously a process, and if you want to know more about how to build a personal brand, we uploaded the personal brand masterclass session we did with Nomdeni Mdagi at the Resonate Hub Plus Summit that we had this year, 2025, in March. It is in our membership club, so please join our membership club. It is amazing there. We have weekly masterclasses on various topics that help you grow and build your business. So if you are looking to actually watch that, I think it's going to change the game for you. Go ahead and join our membership. The link is going to be down below. Join. It's a monthly membership, and you'd have access to all of those, all of that information to be able to help you. And the 5th one Key as well, networking is your shortcut. This is something that I used to say quite a lot when we were advertising for the Resonate Summit. A lot of people kept asking, like, how do you have so many like amazing speakers? You've got like world-renowned speakers. We had the likes of Mushambi Mutuma. We had the likes of Andrew Moodley. Like, we had speakers that people pay thousands and thousands of money to get access to. And one of the things I was sharing was that networking has really been a big shortcut for me in being able to get access to some of those people, networks and mentorship. These are people that I've met over the years. I've served in every capacity that I can. I've been available to speak to them. I've been available to assist them when they needed help. And in return, when I needed to execute a specific idea, these are people that were raising up their hands and saying, listen, we know this is what you're doing. We will be available. What do you need from us? Networking is important. And I think sometimes when we talk about networking, people think we're saying like, go out there and like tell people how great you are and how much money you're making. I think for me, network is really about connecting with people in an authentic way and in authentic spaces as well. You know, if you go to an event and you connect with somebody, exchange details, communicate, have coffee. Don't always think about it as like, what can I get from this person? If you're willing to build a network with anybody or willing to, you know, get assistance with anyone, the first thing you must ask yourself is what is the best way to serve this person? People will respond much better to you if you are serving them. They will be willing to serve you in return. So you always think about servitude. And this is something that we spoke about in our previous episodes, is that servitude becomes literally part of how you're going to network and build connections with people that will be able to assist you should you ever need help along the line. The sixth one is failure is feedback, don't fear it. This is so big. And I think especially in the day and age of social media where everybody and anybody can give us feedback. Like, for instance, you could be listening to this podcast right now. Somebody can comment and give some weird feedback, or it could be nice, could be whatever, you know. But realizing that failure is feedback allows you to not be afraid of things going wrong. You realize that things going wrong is only an opportunity for you to try again, and maybe sometimes try again differently. Maybe sometimes try again with another team. Maybe sometimes try again with different resources. But it is very important that you don't fear failure, because I think if you are an entrepreneur and you are afraid of failure, you're going to restrict yourself to taking risks that might actually take you to the next level. So it becomes very important to realize that there is actually nothing to fear. If something ever goes wrong, or this month you don't meet your target, or you can't pay for your rent, or you can't do something specific, you must realize that it is basically feedback. Maybe the feedback is you need to tighten up on the work that's happening. Maybe the feedback is you need to get more clients so you can sustain this business. Maybe the feedback is maybe you need to allocate the right places in the right positions. There is so many things that you can receive as feedback if you let go of the fear of failure and just realize that this is the something not working out is it telling me something that I need to adjust, change, learn, or grow from. So this becomes very, very important. Another example that I can give you when I think about failure being feedback is that 2 years ago, I lost my Instagram account. It had, I think, over 15,000, if not 18,000 followers. I'd been building it for a couple of years, and I lost it. It got hacked, and overnight I lost it. Most of my clients were there, actually. I lost brand deals because obviously the brands wanted to work with me because of the numbers that I had at the time. And that for me was such a huge failure, because I had a pipeline that looked very healthy, and overnight I actually lost most of that pipeline, if not 99.9% of that pipeline. And as much as that was almost like a failure or a downfall on my side, in the sense that I lost that, after crying and mopping about it for a while, the biggest thing I started asking myself is, how do I build differently in a way that doesn't allow me to not only hold on to those numbers as my only source of income and my only business? And that is essentially what gave birth to what Resonate is today. Is I came to a realization that I was doing so much work and so much amazing things on social media, but I had no ownership over it, because if my account could be hacked overnight, what would become of my business? So when I then rebuilt Resonate, the idea was, how do we serve people beyond social media? Now we've got membership clubs. Now we've got WhatsApp groups that we've created in the past before. Now we've got people who purchase things from us. We've got a database. We've got an email list. We do events. There's so many ways we can connect with our audiences. And now we are not only on one platform, but on various platforms, so that should anything happen to this platform, we would still be good. So for me, that was the feedback that I got from what appeared as failure to me at the time. Is I asked myself, how do I make sure that I'd never fall into this trap again? Because the honest truth is, you can never say something like that would never happen to you again, because you just never know. But should it happen, how do you make sure that you set yourself up in a better position to not lose those clients, or to not lose that revenue, or to not lose those people? We know right now that should anything happen to our Instagram, we've got a TikTok account with over 125,000 people when we're filming this, and we know that we would still be able to reach a certain audience. We know that there's a couple of thousands of people within our database for our email list. We know that we already have our customers in our databases together, so it wouldn't be a total loss. But we had to learn that by losing that initial account that we depended on only for us to be in the space that we are in right now. So that was actually a blessing in disguise. Seventh is delegate early to avoid burnout. Oh, for me, right, this is a lesson that I felt like I knew, but I didn't realize how soon I needed to implement it. So currently at Resonate, we have a team of 4 people, 5 including me. And about 90% of what the team is doing right now are things that over the past year I was doing all by myself. The frustration, the anxiety, the depression that comes with relying on only yourself to do all of those things is very difficult. And having to learn that you must delegate, and to not only just avoid burnout. I think avoiding burnout is very important, but I also think that just so you can scale, because if it's only you dealing with so many functions of the business, how are you going to free up your time to start actually working on the business and not in the business all the time? So that was a big lesson for me. And it's something that we are seeing really grow the business right now, in the sense that we've got a team that can take care of some of the things that I don't really have to be thinking about all the time. And I can focus on being the visionary of the business to essentially grow it. So it's important to realize that if you're an entrepreneur, you can't be an everything person. You can't be involved in every function of your business, because where are you going to get the time to actually be involved in the key functions that are going to help you meet your KPIs? Very, very important thing. Number 8, the customer is your best investor. This ties so well with the point I made earlier around selling being one of the biggest things you need to focus on, and being the only revenue driver, and your key growth strategy is making sure that you've got people coming in. So it's important to learn that the customer is your best investor. If you are looking for money in your business right now, get customers. When customers pay you, you make money. If you're still putting together all of these amazing big documents to receive funding, whatever that looks like, get customers. Although in certain industries, if you start trying to scale up, you might need a little bit more money, but start with what you have and start getting more and more and more customers. Number 9 is patience pays and overnight success is a myth. I have a WhatsApp status. I've had, not a WhatsApp status, I don't know what it's called now. But like in the olden day, before the WhatsApps where people do videos, we had you had to put a status on your WhatsApp profile. I have mine. I think I've had it for years now. And it says it takes years of training to become an overnight success. Everybody you see blowing up, everybody you see getting the numbers right now, some people, yes, do go viral, and we praise the Lord for that grace. But for majority of people that are doing the work and that are really enjoying the fruits right now, it took years for them to actually maintain and get to that level of success. You might have discovered them right now while they're successful, but you can go back and realize that maybe they've been on YouTube for 8 years. Maybe they've been on YouTube or doing podcasts for 4 years, and it's only now that they're getting the numbers. But it is important that you become patient when you're building anything, because only time and strategy, and I believe continuous prayer, is what is going to grow the business of your dreams and the very thing that you really want to build for yourself. So this is very important. Consistent compounds like interest, okay? If you are consistent all the time, the thing with consistency is that it starts adding up, and then as soon as it starts adding up, it starts multiplying, which means that you go from, for instance, if you're trying to get 1,000 followers, that might be a bit harder. But once you get to 1,000, it starts becoming a bit easier to get to 2,000 followers, to get to 3,000 followers. And before you know it, you get to 10,000. And from 10,000, you're just jumping from 10 to 12 to 15. And now the growth is exponential because you are becoming consistent. 10th and last lesson I wish I knew before I started a business was mindset beats skill set. This is something I've seen over the years, and I am even growing to learn this for myself and my team. You can be the most skilled person in the room, but if you've got a crappy mindset, it's actually better off to have the person who has the mindset do the work versus the person with the skill. Skill is absolutely important, But if you are in an environment where you're working with people, your mindset and how you show up with that mindset is what is going to make the change and is what's going to actually be a KPI deliverer in any team. So it's important to learn that as an entrepreneur, yes, it's important that you upskill yourself, go there, network, do all of these things. But your mindset is one of the most powerful tools that you need. Are you able to still be positive and get the work done even when it feels like there's no money coming in, even when it feels like you're posting and no one is engaging with your posts? Are you still able to stay the course and do what you're supposed to do? This is very, very important. And when we talk about mindset, I encourage a lot of people to upskill themselves. What books are you reading in this season? What podcasts are you listening to? And I think if you're listening to the Resonate podcast, you are in the right place. But what other platforms are you on? Have you joined our membership? Because those are some of the things that you need to be doing to upskill yourself. And I think to help yourself within your mindset as you continue to grow. The more you grow, the more the mindset that started the business a year ago is not going to be the mindset that continues the business a year from now. So you have to be in continuous development. If you're somebody who's in academic education, are you consistently upskilling yourself, increasing the amount of courses you have? What are you doing to ensure that you change and to ensure that you grow? Because that's the only way you're going to build a better mindset for you. Otherwise, you remain stagnant. And a lot of people, and I've spoken to a lot of people who go through this way, they're in a specific job and they're like, I'm the most skilled person in this job, but maybe they gave someone else the promotion. It's like, yeah, you might be very skilled, but you don't have the right mindset for that position. So it's important to develop a mindset, a great mindset of a positive attitude, a great mindset that is able to deliver, a great mindset that people and the rest of your team can actually trust. So this is very, very important and something that you need to apply. I hope that these 10 tips have absolutely helped you and that you begin to think about them in retrospect and realizing that what part of these tips am I either learning or am I going through or am I actually trying to develop? It is important to realize that running a business is not easy, but one of the reasons why we built this platform is to be able to give you the knowledge and to be able to build community with you and bring some of the world leaders on the podcast to be able to talk about the things that they went through and how they overcame them so that you also don't have to go through those things. So thank you so much for tuning in for this podcast episode. If you loved it, let me know in the comments section which one of these 10 tips really spoke to you the most and what about it spoke to you. If you haven't joined our membership, please feel free to do so. It's a monthly membership and we love it there. We've got so many activities that we do. We hand out workbooks. We do several master classes and it is such an amazing platform. We've got global entrepreneurs from all over the world who are part of this community membership and we just gather together to do business God's way. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys on our next podcast episode. Goodbye.